First, can I just say thank you because everyone stayed till the end. So that in itself, I feel, is a big achievement. And secondly, I just want to take a moment because seeing this after 7 years is really a huge achievement for a number of reasons. One, I'm dyslexic and dysgraphic, so writing a book is really quite challenging for someone that has two types of learning disabilities. Writing a book with a toddler is extremely hard, and she's very grateful that this is now over. And then just before I finished my thesis, my mum too sadly passed away of aggressive cancer. And she was my biggest supporter. She was my editor-in-chief, and that got handed over to my auntie, who's here today. But I would not have got through my education or my degrees or my doctorate without significant support, particularly from my mum. So it's really hard that she's not here today. How many of you know someone that's dyslexic? Great, there's a few people here. That's really good. My journey started at 27. I was sitting at my kitchen table, and I remember it really well because my dad had made it. And I was sitting there trying to spell a pretty basic word, putting it into a really clumsy sentence that I was trying to construct. And I was with one of my tutors. I'd had many throughout my education, and her name was Lisa. And as I sat there trying to construct this sentence, I started getting really angry at myself. I felt a lot of shame, and I was feeling really embarrassed because I trained as a speech pathologist, and now I was doing a master's and I couldn't put a sentence together. And Lisa said 5 words that changed the trajectory of my life. I think you have dyslexia. And as a speech pathologist, I didn't even know what that term was. So I went to La Trobe. I was really privileged to get an assessment through university at the time. And it was there I found out I had dyslexia and dysgraphia, reading and writing disabilities. And then I fell into this big black vortex. I felt so much shame and embarrassment, and I felt like I'd lost my sense of identity. And I became suicidal. I was in and out of hospital, really unwell. And it was because of my mum and my family that I was able to get better. And when I was 30, I made a conscious decision I didn't want to be in this vortex anymore. It was a really shitty place to be in. And so I got myself better with the help of my family, and I decided that was it. I was going to disclose my dyslexia when I went into the workplace. What I wasn't prepared for was the fact that no one really knew what that was, that there was no awareness of dyslexia in the workplace, this hidden disability. And so each time I would go into a job, I would disclose. One manager told me she needed a couple of stiff drinks to be able to read my work. And although I'd like a stiff drink right now, being up here, that made me feel pretty bad about myself. Another one told me they knew something was wrong with me. I would cry to my mum many nights feeling shame and embarrassment because I knew I could do these things, but I just couldn't put them on paper. And then the tipping point for me was really when I was terminated in my probationary period because of my disability. The organisation said, we don't know how to help you, so bye-bye. I'd moved to a regional community town. I'd shifted my whole life for this job, and I was terminated, and I was devastated. And I said to my mum, I just can't do this anymore. What am I going to do? I don't fit this cookie-cutter mould. And so I started a journey of self-discovery with podcasts and sharing stories of other adults in Australia and around the world. And that led me to my doctorate because I really wanted to know, was it just really poor job choices that I'd landed, a lot of writing that I couldn't do, or was it actually something that was happening in workplaces for many people? And as Brendan started talking, I think my book leverages really well. It was a great intersect of what I was about to talk about, because what I found was that this is happening to so many adults. My story is not unique. Up to 47% of adults with dyslexia have attempted suicide. were twice as likely to face anxiety and depression. And my research demonstrated that we have overall poorer mental health and wellbeing. So when I started my research journey, it was really to see what was happening in the workplace for people. But through my participants' generosity of sharing their stories, we were able to find out that the journey into adulthood is so hard. Educational trauma, the need for family support, ongoing, like my mum, the financial support to be able to pay for an assessment. It is a privilege to get assessed. And that's why we're seeing so many adults now get assessed, because they can financially afford to do it. So many children are missing out on the opportunity to be assessed and to have early intervention like I did. And so we have this journey into adulthood that's really, really difficult, that's not being talked about at the moment. But once we get into adulthood, it's just as hard, because the supports are not in place in the workplace. There's a lack of understanding. There's the fear and shame that we have to disclose, to ask for help. And so this book really is insights into those journeys and how we can be better supporting young people and adults as they transition into the workplace, that they can get the support they need, that they feel psychologically safe, that they can disclose, and that it's okay to be different. And so my book that just landed too on Thursday, thanks to Karen, my publisher, is all about how we can start to use this as a resource in the workplace to talk about dyslexia. So it's not a hidden disability. So people have a voice, they can be heard, they can be seen, and that they can have a better quality of life, that they don't go home after their day job and complain or talk to their husbands or their partners about how shitty their day was, that they feel safe and comfortable, and that we can create inclusive working environments for everyone, and that intergenerational change can occur so that my daughter, who's highly likely to be dyslexic, gets the better opportunities that I ever had, has a voice, and can walk through this life feeling comfortable, confident, and authentic in herself, so she can achieve the best she can. So thank you.